Now, it's time for Straight on the Point with your host from some undisclosed location. Here's Jesse T.
Wow, an undisclosed location under the covers of Southern California, rainy and cloudy, dark clouds and skies. A little bit of thunder and lightning where I'm at as I look out the studio here in this undisclosed location. You can see the power board behind me. That's all the things that I do every day. I write it up on the power board. That's why I call it the power board, because it's the power of voices at www.thepowerofvoices.com. Also download that free app for Apple and Android. And don't forget about us on YouTube Live in the Power of Voices, as well as live stream in Periscope. We broadcast out to them as well. Do some Snapchatting. Snapchatting. Did you buy some of that Snapchat IPO? What do you think? I think it's going to be just like Facebook. I don't think Snapchat's going anywhere except up, up, and away in my beautiful balloon like the fifth dimension. Boy, that's a song from a long time ago. And also, don't forget about the facebook.com/Jesse Torero. That's right there. Facebook's chiming in. Anthony Davis, what you saying about things, Jesse? I got a good loaded pack show today. Going to talk some real estate. Going to talk some jobs. Going to talk some current events. Branch out a little bit from the typical Real Estate Wednesday show. So much stuff happening right now. We got to cover some things. And saying hi to Jeff Julius. Orange Juice Jones. What a great rap song that was. I remember back in the 80s, that song came out, Orange Juice Jones, and then there was a response to that song. Remember when they used to do that? They used to do a hip-hop song, and then somebody would respond to it, and then somebody else would respond to it, and they respond to it. That's in the fun old days of rap when it started back in the late 1970s. I got involved in the early 83, mid to early 83, and the music certainly was different there. Saying hi to Isabella Kren. Hey, it's good to have you along, Isabella. Haven't seen you around. Haven't seen you out following you on Facebook and Instagram Live. You're having an exciting life like you always have, and staying in shape and visiting the world and doing the things that you need to do. Thanks a lot, Isabella, for having us on here on the Jesse T Show. As we start chiming in on Instagram Live, we welcome you to do that because, of course, our main platforms here are AV, Entertainment Live, and the Digital Broadcasting TV Network. And the foundation is facebook.com/Jesse Torero. As you enter the world, according to Torero today, you're going to get straight on the point. And we can't forget about our second foundation. That's Instagram Live, as we grow that audience and getting it larger and larger and larger and making a commitment to that, because Instagram Live seems to be where branding and a lot of cool stuff. We got to build those followers up, guys. And so please share us out. Let's build those followers up. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, but we've got a lot of great programs here, and we talk about a lot of good stuff. Controversial, sometimes conspiracy, sometimes straight hard news, lots of fun, entertainment, value, comedy, music. We cover the whole gamut, even making money, OPM, other people's money, and also real estate and jobs. So we try to get the whole gamut through the week on the Jesse T Show right here, Monday through Friday from 5 to 6 every single day of the week. And it's archived then on thepowerofvoices.com, our other main format in the global radio network of thepowerofvoices.com. Over 200,000 strong, baby, or something like that. I know it's a whole bunch of stuff going on there, and our listeners around the world, from the community to the world. The Brown Beauty is back on duty, on the air, and everywhere at www.thepowerofvoices.com. And our Holmes Foundation that I originally started with, our website, aventertainmentlive.com. Now that we got all that business out of the way, saying hi to Craig Powers out there in Arizona. I was in Arizona just last weekend for the Arizona Spartan Race. Mesquite, Nevada, just crossing the border into Littlefield, Arizona. I'm sure that Craig Powers knows that area. He has become a Southern California boy, transferred to Arizona and loving it. And I know why. Folks, Arizona sure is pretty. Blue skies, clean air, no graffiti. Hey, I felt like I was in the America of 45 years ago when I was 10 to 15, 16 years old. Wow, the rivers were pretty. The plants were green. Didn't see any gangster life going on, at least in upper Nevada and lower Arizona there. The people all spoke English, which I liked, and it was, open carry. And shot my gun a lot, and it was great. And the Spartan Warrior were out there running the 5 mile chase and obstacle course, and I envied them so much. I so wanted to be on that course. I did, but I'm not fit enough yet. Recovering from last year's accidental bust up of my esophagus, rolling around with my 21-year-old son. Unbelievable how strong and powerful he is. And he knocked 19 minutes off his time there in Arizona yesterday to 59 minutes for a 5 mile race in the river, in the sand, through the bushes, over 25 obstacles. Unbelievable stuff. You can catch all that on facebook.com/Jesse Terrero as we covered it there on ABTV Live Sports. Arizona is a beautiful place to be, and I think that maybe someday I'll have to come and buy all of Cameron Broadcasting, all 5 of those radio stations, and then, Craig, you can work for me, baby. That's right. It can't cost more than, what, $25 million? Something like that? You can come work for me. In fact, you and I ought to go into business together. Think about that one. So good to have you along with me, Jesse T, here in Southern California, where it's raining and it's cloudy and it's windy and it's a little cooler today. And we're going to kind of heat things up a little bit. But first, just talk about real estate in general. The market is tuning up real hot and heavy here in Southern California. And for that matter, across the nation, prices are escalating now. And folks, if you're going to buy anything, commercial property, industrial land, condo, townhouse, single family residence, you got to get to doing it right now because prices are going to go up. In fact, they're going up all across the country in just about every community. They're going up, even in Detroit. They're going up as a lot of that land that was just destroyed over 40 years of Democratic rule and the loss of course, the automobile industry in Detroit and the surrounding area. That is being replaced by high tech. A lot of software designers. Detroit is becoming that kind of hub again. And of course, Donald Trump just gave a $100 million grant through the EPA to finally fix the water problem up in that part of the country after 3 years of Obama stuff. He couldn't do anything, and President Trump steps in and earmarks a grant, which is money that doesn't have to be paid back, and that's well spent taxpayer money to fix that water supply. You should see some of the reports on how disgusting and terrible the water is up there. But nevertheless, real estate is even going up there. I got off the phone about 6 weeks ago with a Chinese investor. He's an American man, born in America, but of Chinese descent. And he buys 5,000 homes at a time. In fact, he hit me up to see if I could raise about $25 to $50 million for him to buy 5,000 plus homes at a time. He renovates, rebuilds, puts all new infrastructure in, all new communities, gated communities in Detroit. It's really cool. Builds stores, jobs, parks, and he keeps it all in a very small budget because you see he buys these houses in Detroit for $1 to $100 from the tax sale. It's just basically sort of like Berlin looked like after World War II, and he's doing a lot of renovation there. My hat's off to him. And so even Detroit is changing and going up and getting a better look now. So buy something this year and buy it early in the year. If you think you can't, you really can. You just got to try. And hook me up and give me a call at 818-805-4400. And that way then I can bring you up to speed on all the great programs that are available for first-time buyers, secondary buyers, and investors too. So there's lots of good stuff happening. We are in a pro-business environment in this country now. Jobs, employers are coming here by the groves. They're committing hundreds of thousands of jobs. Major manufacturing is moving back to the country because of President Trump. And they're going to keep their places, though, where they're at in Mexico and the Philippines and Malaysia and China and India. They're not going to close those shops. They're just going to expand and bring some of those jobs back, certainly not all of them, but a big portion of them, to the tune of hundreds of millions of jobs, hopefully here. And we can get most of the people off government assistance of about 101 or 110 million. It varies. People will say anywhere between 95 and 110 million people in this country are on some sort of government assistance, and we have to get them off. That LBG, that LG, that Lyndon LBJ, Great Society, after JFK was killed, that he instituted and provided, just basically created the welfare system for the Southern vote. And it wasn't the African American vote that he wanted. He wanted the white Southern vote because he was a Democrat out of the white Southern belt. And but nevertheless, we have been propagating that over and over to the tune of what it is today. So it's good to see some of the tightening of the belt, jobs coming back, good paying jobs. But it's important to understand the type of jobs that are coming back. It's not the jobs that your grandfather used to have or your father used to have or your mother. It's the type of jobs now today that are all wrapped around the new technologies, white collar and blue collar jobs. So one of the things that you really have to start doing is retooling yourself and understanding a little bit more about robotics and autonomous machines and things like that, because one person is going to run what 12 or 15 people used to do with one or two robots. And there's also talk, and it's coming, it's already here basically, where they're developing robots that will develop their own code and talk to the robots that are just menial labor robots, sort of a robotic slavery, huh? I wonder if we should create a union of robots, the worker robot union against the management robot union that tells them what to do. I want to be the first union boss. Yeah, that's right. Well, anyway, robotics is on its way, and it's also on its way in the real estate business. Going to chat about something that I think is really cool, and it's happening in San Diego and soon across the nation. But back to buying something. Buy something earlier in the year so you can get the tax advantage. Okay, that's very important. It knocks your income down right off the top. Passive income, bam, knocks it down, so it drops you in a bracket. Though we're talking about a redesign of the tax under the Donald Trump presidency, that still won't take into effect till way into next year, because we're still living off the Obama dream and hope and dream and hope and change thing right now. And we're going to be living off of that till the end of the year, because that's sort of how that transition happens in every presidency. I'm not happy with the Republicans. They can't seem to get this health bill right. And I have gone on record and said that if they don't get this right, then they might as well kiss away 2 years down the road the House and the Senate. Okay, and Donald Trump then will be an inept president, and history will look at him and say he couldn't make it happen when he had a Republican House and a Republican Senate. So they've got to get it right. And what I'm seeing, it's not right. I don't like it at all. They didn't even incorporate some of the Obama-like things that are good in there. And they've got to get it right. Now, there is word, don't fret, the Senate has probably got the votes to kick it down. And there is some word that the House will kick it down too and won't even get past the House. So that's sort of how negotiations go, though. You know, you toss something out and you get something back. This is a Paul Ryan plan. This isn't a Donald Trump plan. So it's a Paul Ryan plan, and there's going to have to be adjustments on it. Otherwise, they can kiss their political careers goodbye. And maybe so, good riddance, huh, to them all, that bad meat. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac on the real estate side is going through a reorganization right now. When Donald Trump was voted in as president, the stock went up 90% straight across the board. It's leveled off, and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are going to go through a reunification, which will probably tighten down the type of loans that they're going to buy in the secondary mortgage market. They'll get back to a pre-Clinton era, pre-Clinton era when he opened up Fannie Mae and Freddie to have to buy all these terrible loans over the preceding 30 years. So it'll probably, the word is that it's going to go back to a little tighter, which basically means that you have to be able to afford and qualify to buy a house. It's just not a free gift. And that's the way it should be, because America was based on those that have the ability to do things for themselves. Did you hear what I said? To do things for themselves. The pioneers came across the nation and didn't ask the government to do anything for them, and the government couldn't. Hey, Gonarsh is on. Thanks a lot, Gonarsh, checking in on Instagram Live. So we are a country of immigrants that do things for ourselves, given the opportunities that we have in this great country, America the Beautiful. And God bless the USA, the greatest empire the world has ever seen, and will continue on. We have the ability to do for ourselves, to become educated, no matter what your plight, no matter what your time is. My father was horribly abused when he was a little boy. He was cast out and almost murdered by his parents several times. And I have the stories, and I won't say anything more about that. He left home when he was 6. He ran away to the other end of Chicago, and they picked him up. Then by 9, he ran away to El Paso because he heard he had some cousins in El Paso. And he hoboed it at 9 years old, hoboing and thumbing across the nation from Chicago to El Paso, Texas. Then he was picked up and sent back and got a whooping the second time. And then he ran away when he was 11 or 12. He ran to El Monte, California, right here. And he heard that he had some family here. When he got here, he had a little bit of family, distance as it was. And they sent him back home, and he got a whooping. Well, at that point, he walked up the stairs and hit his father square in the face and said, "No more. Are you going to give me a whooping?" Knocked his dad down, left the house, and never saw his parents again. From 12 years old, and my dad is 85 years old. Good riddance to lousy scumbag people. I thought they were really weird when I met them once or twice in my lifetime, and that was it. So, my father never laid a hand on me, and never laid a hand on his wife, and never laid a hand on his friends. He got past the scars that are on his body today and the scars that are on his soul. Nobody has the plight and the bad story worse than my father. JRT, let me tell you, he has the worst and the worst story that you can possibly imagine. Okay? So, but he got it. And my mother, though, my dad could cut me like a knife with his words. But my mother, she was the strong arm of the law in the family. She had no reservation about grabbing whatever she could get when I was running by. You know what I'm talking about? And that's the way it should be. Moms should have an open policy. And of course, to some degree. But, we got whoopings, and we got, I had to break off a switch off a black oak tree sitting in our front yard, and I had to strip it and give it to my mother, and she'd whip my little butt right there in front of God and country. Well, my generation grew up okay. But I'm a believer of corporal punishment to some degree as well. I even got the whoopings at Village Christian School. That's right. That's where I went to school for a little while until 9th grade. But nevertheless, we are a country that have done for ourselves. I'm saying hi to Sabrina. Thanks a lot for checking us out today, Sabrina. And M. Beck Kearney. Thanks a lot for chiming in with us here on thepowerofvoices.com, Instagram Live, and Facebook.com/Jesse Terrero. It's AV TV Live and the Jesse T Show. So we are a nation of doers. That's what we are. And it's time to do you into a house. Take a risk. If you got a job and a decent FICO score of 640 or better, and a little bit of money saved up, 3.5%, give me a call. I can help you get that FHA loan. While FHA and Fannie Mae are still doing those loans, they're never going to give them up, but there's some reunification that might be taking place. So we don't know, of course, but I don't want you to play poker with your dream. So give us a call at 818-805-4400, and we'll help you out. I will in any way I can. Your trusted real estate broker, and in the real estate business for over 40 years, and here in Southern California, and loan specialist. Done just about everything in that line of work. And now we are reorganizing and reinventing ourselves in this new thing called Real Estate 2017. All the old rules don't work anymore, where we used to get listings and sell houses to sell and buyers to find. If you aren't doing something on Facebook and live stream and Periscope and Instagram with your real estate business, you have no business. One of the cool things, though, that I think has really come into play, there's an outfit in San Diego. And this is going to revolutionize our industry. It's really, really great timing for this. What's going to happen is virtual reality is kicking in at 100% right now. Virtual reality in everything, virtual reality in films and entertainment, virtual reality in sales, virtual reality online to buy things, virtual reality in every way is kicking in. And in the real estate business, there's a group out of San Diego that is institutionalizing their virtual reality system. And essentially what it is if you want to see some homes, but you don't really have the time to drive around and whatnot, you can go to their office and you can put on, the virtual reality glasses that we all see at Verizon and AT&T and T-Mobile and everywhere you go. These virtual reality glasses where many of them you plug in your iPhone or your Android in front, and it creates a virtual reality for you, right? Very cool. If you've never done that, you got to do that. It's very, very cool stuff. So they're going to be able to give you the opportunity to see all the houses you want to see, walk through the houses, experience the golf course or the parks or the schools in virtual reality, 3D and 4K. So is that cool or what? That's going to revolutionize our business because it sort of is archaic still the way we do our business. When we find somebody who wants to buy, we tote them around, or when we find somebody who wants to sell, we go to them. The next generation of millennials and, of course, the Generation X, the biggest and largest generation moving into the working market and the buying market now over the next 10 to 15 years, that's where the money's at. And this is what you guys want. And it's real cool. So there's a company, as I said, in San Diego, and we're going to see that go nationwide with these virtual reality real estate glasses, and you'll be able to check out houses. I can't wait to see that. I haven't seen that myself. I was thinking about taking a ride down to San Diego and checking that out myself because that's a cool system. I might put that in my real estate office. It's time to get a loan, guys. You got to get a loan. The loans are going to go up 2 more times in the next 12 months. You've got to get that interest rate right now. Okay, interest rates are hovering about 3.875 to about 4.3. It just depends where you go and what you need and what your financial package looks like. So got to jump on board and get that going. All right. And be careful, though, when you fill out those applications online. I know they ask for a lot of information. Just always make sure that you know who you're talking to when you're doing that. Make sure that the person actually does have a license or they're actually working for a big company or a company. Validate that company, validate that person as best as you can. Go online, Google search them, go to the California Department of Real Estate, see their license number, make sure that they're a valid, living, breathing person. Make sure their pictures are all the same in terms of their faces. You should have no reservation to do that. That's what the system allows for everybody to do now. You can't hide from the internet. So check that out. And here's why. There are so many scams going on. My father, incidentally, got hit by a scam just about 4 weeks ago. The fake IRS agent called him up telling him he was going to go to jail. Now, what they do is they get senior citizens and aged individuals, their phone numbers, because many of them still have landlines. You and I don't have a landline, but many of them still do because it's the technology that they're comfortable with. And it's hard to get rid of for many folks. Even though they may have a cell phone or a smartphone, they still have that landline with a voicemail or a machine connected to it. Yeah, it's really amazing. And all the older folks' homes I go into, they still got the phone and the machine. The phone and the machine is still working. Yeah, you talk about virtual reality. I mean, that's like virtual reality 1979 style. But nevertheless, they do have them. So what these entities do, and you watch out for your moms and dads and grandma and grandpas and the seniors and aged people that you love and care for, let them know. They call up and say that they are representing the IRS. They give a bogus number, bogus license number or employment number, and they say you have to contact us immediately because you are being investigated and a warrant is about ready to be issued in your name to arrest you. Well, let me tell you something, folks. The IRS doesn't arrest anybody. Okay, the IRS doesn't arrest anybody. The FBI arrests people, and the Treasury Department does, but not the IRS. And way before that happens, you will get so many letters, and I'm going to show you. You see this stack right here? This stack of letters? I mean, this is stacked. I'm working through a challenge with the IRS right now for myself personally. And you see this? This stack, there's got to be 30 papers here came in the last 2 weeks because of the tax season. So they re-up themselves and make sure they get all the mail out. So yeah, I'll show it again. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Right? So I'm working through something with the IRS right now. We're going to be doing what's called an offer and compromise. Done it before. That's something I'll talk about as time goes on. I'll give you a plan on how you can maybe if you owe tax money to the IRS, that you can work some ways through this. But of course, I'm not an attorney specializing in taxes, and I'm not a tax accountant or CPA or a licensed tax person at all. This is only from my opinion. Always seek out the proper guidance and counsel in that area, people who are doing that. But I'll just express to you the experience I'm going through as I go through it. But that's what the IRS does. They give you a ton of paperwork. You know they're looking for you, okay? So don't get scammed like that. And a lot of older folks do get scammed, especially when you fill out stuff on the internet. When you go online and you put stuff like Yahoo was just cracked by another hacker. When you go online and you put any personal information, you're basically giving up your right to that information to some wandering eye out there. And believe me, they're so sophisticated and so great. I mean, look at that's sort of just the way it is. Donald Trump said he was targeted by the Obama administration. Well, perhaps he wasn't targeted by the Obama administration, but what he was targeted by other entities in the White House and surrounding agencies that check these things out. Just today, Nunez came out and said that Donald Trump is exonerated because it basically exonerated him because what took place is that even though the FBI had their big investigation going on and their big response today yesterday in terms of the FBI was not investigating him. Oh, Fess Parker died. The guy who played Davy Crockett. That's the third guy. Chuck Berry, Chuck Barris, and Fess Parker. Oh man, Daniel Boone was a big man. He fought like an oh man, I loved Daniel Boone. I loved Fess Parker. Wow, unbelievable. Everybody's dying. All the great ones are dying. I mean, is there ever going to be these type of entertainers ever again? Man, that's amazing. Anyhow, so Nunez, the head of one of the committees that do investigations, and I'm looking for the specific story here in just a second. I'll pick it up because it does tie into how people are surveilled today. And if you go online and fill out loan applications looking for a house to buy and seeking out money, you really are saying to yourself that it's okay. I understand what's happening, but I'm going to put my personal information onto that website. So just be careful, like I said, to check and double check and triple check to make sure that you're doing that, because we are surveilled in many, many different ways. The concept of a wiretap really is not there anymore. The wiretap is some old words used from old kind of ideology or technology. And what President Trump was basically alluding to is that he was surveilled, but he used the wrong word, wiretapping, because that used to be the catch-all word for that kind of stuff, but it isn't anymore. He was surveilled, and there is a recent report from this committee that said that he was surveilled. So if the would-be coming of the new president can be surveilled and watched, then you can too. It's very easy. House Intel Chairman Nunez says that the surveillance during the Obama presidency actually happened to Trump. Confirmed on Wednesday that U.S. intelligence agencies have collected incidental communications from the Trump camp during surveillance operations of foreign entities, Representative Nunes made the revelation at a news conference where he told those in attendance that he accidentally came across the information while reviewing other intelligence briefings. According to Nunes, dozens of reports of President Trump were reviewed by the intel community, which were then widely disseminated. Remember when Obama opened up the ability for many of the policing and surveillance agencies by signing the executive order 1233323C, where only the CIA, FBI, and NSA was supposed to get this stuff. Now, something like 15 or 20 agencies can get it. He adds that none of the communications are related to Russian or Russian officials, and that he is unsure if the surveillance occurred at Trump Tower or other locations, but he does confirm that Trump was surveilled. So, hey, he said he was surveilled, and he was. So there you go. You can be surveilled too. So be careful when you do that online. Also, be careful when you go to the ATM machine, because there's a new hacker scam. They run those little fake scanners inside the scanner that takes your card, and then there's a little pin camera right above when you pull your card out, shooting down on the keypad, and they see your number. So they get your card number, and then they get your PIN code. And it's a big thing that's happening right now, so watch out for that. Some other scams I want you to look into. There's a brute force attack, and the brute force attack, and I think this is important, relevant to money, since a lot of today we talk about money on Wednesday. It's all about your money, really. It's all about your life, and this does relate to our topic today, of course, real estate, money, jobs, and other things here that are happening in our country. There's several scam attacks, and check these out. One's called the brute force attack, a hacking method to find passwords or encryption keys by trying every possible combination of characters until the correct one is found. They have these computers that can just spit through that software. Catfish one. This is called someone who creates a fake online profile to intentionally deceive you. Drive-by download, the downloading of a virus or malware onto your computer or mobile device when you visit a compromised website like I just talked about. It happens without you clicking or anything at the site. The minute you hit it, bang, boom, they got you. Ghosting, theft of the identity of a decreased person to fraudulently open credit accounts, obtain loans, or get utility or medical services in the person's name. I've got a special report that I'm putting together off this article, and I'll be certainly happy to send that to you free of charge if you want it. Contact us at 818-805-4400. I think this scamming report, this is all about the top scams out there that people just don't know about, and we have to educate ourselves. So I can get that special report out to you, or you can contact us at facebook.com/Jesse Terrero broker. You can do it there too. We're reconnecting on facebook.com right now. We lost that feed, but there was a little bit of a flash of an electrical flash and thunder and lightning out here just a few seconds ago, but we're still hanging tight on live stream and on thepowervoices.com. Another hacking scam thing is something called hash busters. The random words or sentences contained in spam emails that allow these emails to bypass your spam filters. So that's another one that is out there. Something called a keylogger, a clandestine program that logs sequential strokes on your keyboard and sends them to hackers so they can figure out your login credentials. I love these names of this stuff. The inventive names these people create for these things. Malvertising. And malvertising is a malicious online advertising that contains malware within the advertising, software intended to damage or disable your computer. And then you call them up and they get all your information. Man-in-the-middle attack, when a fundraiser or fraudulent fraudster secretly intercepts and possibly alerts messages between two parties who believe they are securely communicating with each other. Farming, when hackers use malicious programs to route you to their own websites, often convincing lookalikes. We've all seen those, that's for sure, even if you're correctly typed in the address of the site you want to visit. So if you come across something like that, a lookalike site, then what you have to do is be very, very careful that it's not your site. And so if you have any question, what I've gotten the practice of is I've gotten to the practice of making sure that when I go to like a bank site that is not a lookalike, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll call the bank, this customer service number, and ask them if they see me online, because they can do that. And I have the regular 800 number to the bank that I opened up my account. So that's just sort of like checking things out in a kind of a tiered level way. Phishing, the act of trying to trick you, often by email, into providing sensitive personal information of credit cards and data accounts by scammers possessing as a trusted business or other entity. So that's another one that they're doing quite often out there now. So I'm just going over some of these. A couple of more. Of course, we got something called spoofing. Any situation in which a scammer masquerades as a specific person, business, or agency. So if you want this free report here, I'll get it out to you. You can contact us via Messenger or Facebook.com/Jesse Terrero or 818-805-4400. So I wanted to chat about that real quick because I think that's really important to talk about. How's the budget that Donald Trump is putting forward here going to affect us? Well, that's something important to talk about as we bridge off into the next topic of our conversation here today, and that's making money, because that's really what it's all about, making money in today's 2017 environment. It's really, really, really changed compared to what it used to be. We're trying to reconnect up to Facebook.com/Jesse Terrero, so hopefully we can get that connection back up. If we don't, we're still on live stream, so that's good, man. Live stream is powerful, baby. I like that. And we're on the powerofvoices.com, which will connect us back that way as well. All right, we got to go live, and we can do that. Boy, I'm telling you, I'm a master of like 4 things at once, aren't I? So how's the Trump budget proposal? How's that going to reshape the government? Well, we've all been hearing about it and talking about it, but do you really know too much about it in terms of how it is going to reshape the government? In other words, reshape America? Well, it initially targets discretionary spending, and that's that spending that is discretionary. It's just basically the word, okay? President Trump's first budget does not touch mandatory spending programs like Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. So don't worry about all the fake news that you're hearing. Good to have you back with us, Galina Capiani. Hey, we were bumped off of Facebook there for a moment, facebook.com/Jesse Terrero, but we're back on live. And we're doing our thing here on the Jesse T Show, Monday through Friday from 5 to 6. So the first Trump's budget, this first budget, he's not going to cut anything into the mandatory spending programs like Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. So nothing's going to happen there, all right? It's discretionary spending, which makes up about a quarter of the total budget, was addressed by the president for the 2018 fiscal year, which begins October 1st. You see, his budget is really going to kick in October 1st of this year. It's the Obama budget that's still happening right now. His proposals on taxes and any changes in mandatory spending laws will come out in a more detailed budgets a little bit later on. But what basically he's looking at, the mandatory spending projected for 2017 is about $4 trillion. For our spending in our budget, about $4 trillion. And about 25% of that is discretionary. So he's shifting money to defense, as an example. The current spending caps on defense right now are $549 billion a year. Cy Richardson's checking in. What a great actor Cy is, and a great acting coach, and just a real wonderful man. And congratulations, Cy. I believe your daughter won or was in her 7th marathon. Hey, congratulations. I saw a little post up on that. All right. Hey, man, that is a celebratory thing. There's no way I'm running 26 miles. I'm training hard now for the 5-mile Spartan Warrior and Gladiator obstacle course, and that's grueling enough. But the top guys do it in 36 minutes. My son did it in 59. And he's just starting out in that, and I'll probably do it in 4 days. But the current defense spending is $549 billion. For non-defense spending is $516 billion. All right, so he's cutting out 54 billion from non-defense spending within the Defense Department. Okay, and that's what he's doing to find that 54 billion dollars to put it over to defense spending for new ships and such. All right, he's cutting the State Department and foreign aid by almost a third. So he's cutting out about $10.9 billion. Hey, I'm getting tired of supporting the rest of the world. I don't know about you guys. I'm getting tired. I've traveled to 43 nations, and most of the nations love America, but they just take advantage of us because we let them. And the current budget in 2017 is 38 billion. So he's cutting out about $10 billion for the State Department. The State Department doesn't need to have that much money. And foreign aid, come on now. Why don't we start giving some aid to our citizens here in America? That $10 billion or that $38 billion, some of that should be coming back to American citizens. He's increasing Homeland Security, and I think he should, especially in lieu of what happened today in London, another terrorist attack, and what happened in France and Germany just a couple of weeks ago, a mail bombing through the mail, which was a terrorist attack by Greek terrorists. So, look at, there are people out there that want to kill our way of life. In England, they're having a terrible problem with all the Islamic immigrants. It's just a horrid situation that's going on, crime and rape. And there are 83 courts, Sharia courts in England now that don't adhere to English common law. They only adhere to their own law. Yeah, so, these are people that believe rape is okay. These are people that believe women are subspecies. These are people that believe that if your daughter is raped by somebody, you can kill her because she still has brought shame to your family. They can't drive. These people are Neanderthals from a time long ago. And in England and France and Germany are showing the repercussions of allowing all those illegal aliens in there without vetting them. In fact, Merkel said we can't even understand who's right and who's wrong anymore. So we're looking at an issue there. So the budget for Homeland Security is being increased by 2.8 billion to 41.3 billion. Cuts in health programs. He's cutting out about $12 billion in wasted money of a $77 billion budget for health programs. And he's educational programs. I think education should be a state thing and a localized thing. I wish he'd get rid of the Department of Education and the EPA. We don't need them. Let the states handle that, okay? The only thing we need the EPA for is for cleanups, like the $100 million that President Trump just gave the folks up there in Minnesota and Wisconsin and area for the terrible water that. All right, so he's cutting $9.2 billion out of a $68.2 billion budget for education. Not really that much. I mean, we're only looking at a very small percentage. He's cutting housing programs. If you can't qualify for a home, you shouldn't be able to buy a home. I've always felt that when Clinton increased in the real estate business, changed the parameters for Fannie and Freddie Mac back in the 1990s, I knew this was not a good thing. We went up from qualifying people that they could only qualify with 23% of their income versus their debt every month, all the way up to 52%. In some cases, we could stretch it to 57% at one time. Right. So you're giving people property and loans that they can't afford. They have one mess up in their life, and that's it. They're in foreclosure. And that's exactly what happened. They knew it was going to happen. So they're cutting the housing issues, cutting housing programs by 4.3 billion. Yes, absolutely. Increasing the budget for our veterans, absolutely, by 4.4 billion. Cutting agriculture programs. Let the farmers grow the food. Okay? Let them grow the food. Let the open market take care of it. And come down on those pharmaceuticals. That's the second portion of that I would like to see happen. They're shifting labor responsibilities to the states, absolutely. Slashing 30% of the EPA budget. Thank you very much. 2.6 billion from 8.2 billion, and cutting the NOAA and consolidation within the Commerce Department by 1.5 billion. So that's kind of what the plan is doing. Now, what does all that mean? It means simply this. You've got to get a job that pays you. You've got to get out there and get off government assistance programs if you want to own a house. You've got to have qualifications on your tax returns and your credit report and a bank account and a savings account and a driver's license and a social security card. You've got to be able to fill out a loan application. You've got to be able to do it kind of in the old-fashioned way. You've got to be able to qualify, otherwise you can't play. And that's basically what that means. So let's get some good jobs today. You know, I always talk about jobs. I'm always talking about great jobs that are out there for you to get. And we talked about earlier in the program where I started off, where I said, look at, jobs is the key. Jobs is where it's at in that respect. If you got a job today, you got the ability to have a kind of life that you want for you and your family. So that's what we have to do. We have to get better jobs. And so write a couple of these things down, because with a better job, you're going to get better income. And with better income, you're going to have the ability to get houses. Places like Sears Sears is saying now that they doubt that they're going to stay in business. Okay, 14 large retailers like Penny's are closing their stores. 14 super large retailers. We're talking some of the big ones across the country. J.C. Penney being one of them, closing the stores because they can't stay open. They can't stay open against the internet. People's purchasing habits have changed. And so 14 major retail stores, Penny's, Sears, Macy's, they're going to go away. Yeah, Macy's, of all places. Foot Locker is going to go away. They're bankruptcy right now. Pay for Less Shoes is going to go away. So these types of jobs that you wanted $15 an hour for, Kohl's department store is going to go away. They're in bankruptcy. Okay. CVS Pharmacy is going to go away. That's right. They're in terrible, terrible trouble right now. Okay. Office Depot is going to go away. You think I'm joking? Go to my Facebook site, read the article. Abercrombie and Fitch is going to go away. All right. BCBG, Max Zara is going to go away. All right, that's a clothing manufacturer, 300 stores. H.H. Gregg is going to go away. Appliance and electronics, they're going to go away. Pier 1 Imports is almost gone. Staples is going to go away. So now you're going to lose Office Depot and Staples. Why? Because everybody's doing it online. So you got to get the right job. Even Tiffany and Company in Rodeo Boulevard is not immune. They're doing major cutbacks because of online purchasing. BB now wants to be an online retailer only. This is what's happening. Goodbye to the Wave store and the Payless stores across the nation. They're gone. So you see, what's happening is exactly what I've been speaking about for many years, and it's coming full dynamic at you. So jobs like working in robotics and automation, that's where it's got to be. So you got to get tooled up in those areas. Jeff Bezos made this massive robot. It looks like something out of Star Wars. It's kind of scary. They've got these rolling robots. They got flying drone robots now to deliver your products, goods, your food, everything. They got autonomous cars that are going to do deliveries, that are going to do pickups, that are going to do all this kind of work that you used to be able to do. All right, that stuff is gone. So where do you get a job? Well, you know, I talk about jobs all the time. And one of the places I talk about jobs are in some of the big, huge companies that are tooling up, not tooling down, that are being connected to Donald Trump and the massive expansion. NASA is hiring. You don't have to be a scientist to work at NASA. They have truck drivers. They have assemblers. They have people that do all kinds of work. Cafeteria people. They have maintenance people. They have contractors. These NASA facilities are huge. So you can find a job there. Another place to find a job would be places like Pepsi-Cola, Budweiser. They're hiring right now. These are $800, $900 to $1,500 jobs a week. This is big stuff. This is big money when you start talking about that on a yearly basis. You're talking, $70,000 to $100,000 a year. You qualify with jobs like that, you're finding a great house to live in. You're going to be knocking on my door and calling my number at 4400. Okay. Now, if you're having a hard time figuring out what to do with your life, well, former Google executive tells she's got 4 great secrets on what to do with your life and how to find out what to do with your life. She says, draw a mind map. It's a visual diagram of things that interest you. Okay? Draw a mind map. Put your goals down there, and things will start to pop off that page. She talks about think of personal or work projects you could start that you really like to do that can transform into jobs for you out there in the working world. Focus on the skills that you'd like to have and the skills that you do have, and get some more education in the skills you don't have. Don't stay stuck because you're afraid to try, no matter what your age is. Keep trying. These are some of the things that she talks about, a former executive of Google, and which I think is terrific, Jenny Blake. So she shares some of that. So there are a lot of jobs out there for you to seek and for you to find. The trick is you have to understand what's happening in our community today, and what's happening. Sales jobs are going, typical retail sales jobs are going to go away for the most part because there's no room for it. Everybody's doing everything online. Construction jobs are still going to be there because houses have to be built and maintenance has to be done. So we're going to have construction jobs there. But you also want to look at other types of employment other than that. There's a lot of the bookstores are going to go out of business. They're going out. Technology jobs. And you don't have to be a genius guru to get those jobs. You just have to have some basic skills in these areas. And so I've got a great place for you to go. Go to my webpage at facebook.com, Straight on the Point. I've got lots of jobs in there. If you scale and go down, you'll find jobs and all kinds of interesting things I don't talk about on the air, but I get to eventually. So some funny, kooky stuff and some stuff that, I really think is very interesting. But also I post a lot of my jobs up in that area too. So that's the key. Improve your station in life by improving the amount of money you make. Uber driving is a great thing. Lyft driving is a great thing to do. It really helps you, get between those type of jobs you want that everybody wishes that they could have. So that's a great place to start and create some cash income pretty quick. So, you may want to start doing and looking into that. And if you do, give me a call and I can help you out. Our guy, Lee Michaels, is one of the top Uber guys here in Southern California. And he's got a model that works just beautifully. You can move to North Dakota and pick up and be participant in picking up all the protesters out there. Do you know they left 835 dumpsters full of stuff at $1.1 million it cost the state of North Dakota? 835 dumpsters, the pipeline protesters. What a bunch of low-life scumbags leaving their trash and feces all around there. Horrible. And they want me to do anything for them? Are you kidding me? They've gone on my list of not to do anything for. If you protested out there and didn't take your trash out, you were worse to the environment than the friggin' pipe. So you might want to start looking in these kinds of areas. And remember, if you want to get wealthy and you want to get really rich, you have to start your own business. You have to do something that is you, that you have the ability to create. And it doesn't have to be something brand new. It can be something that you see, oh, wait a minute, that could be done better. That's the entrepreneurial spirit, and that's what America has always been about, the entrepreneur. The person has been able to step out and find their way and make their way and make their family greater, and make their country greater, make America great again, and participate in the greatness of this nation and change it from the top and not the bottom, because nothing gets changed from bottom up and everything gets changed from top to bottom. Samsung just released, they're going to be shifting from Mexico to the U.S. They're going to invest $300 million in new jobs and plants. Samsung, that's right. So look them up. That's another great place to get a job. Samsung's not going anywhere, that's for sure. 25 of the best paying jobs in the country right now. You know what some of those are. And, you don't always have to be the person that is the whiz kid, but these are the best paying jobs, so you have to have the best education. Nuclear engineers, plant managers. These are plant managers, usually people that work up from the beginning to the top. Data architects, actuaries, architects, or R&D managers, pharmacists, patent attorneys. Have your kids go to school for these types of things. Physicians. These are 25 of the top paying jobs. So I encourage you to change your walk in life by changing your attitude and changing how you see yourself in this world. Quit squabbling so much about what's happening in Washington, D.C. Leave that up to me, Jesse T. I'll squabble enough because I really don't care. If they're doing a wrong, they got to be put out and talked about. And that's what I do. That's why I can't stand what the Republicans are doing right now. But nevertheless, so look, we talked a little bit of real estate today. We talked a little bit of money. We talked a little bit about jobs, talked a little bit of politics, just had an overall conversation about the kinds of things that will make you better in your life. And hopefully I can help you out in some ways. Remember, of course, the Jesse T Show every day of the week, Monday through Friday, right here. And I do have to talk about something that drives me absolutely insane. It wouldn't be the Jesse T Show if I at least didn't talk about something that drives me insane. And that's this concept of illegal immigration. Build the wall and build it high and build it deep and build it wide and build it long. Make it the size of the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean, because those two natural barriers and walls have kept us from the terrible wars and pestilence and crap of the rest of the world. We need to build the walls. We have the example. God's blue nation, God's green blue earth, the great country we live in. We've learned our lesson that we have to protect ourselves from those that want to kill us. Okay? The London mayor, the first Islamic Muslim mayor in London, basically said after the shooting in London, well, we have to get used to terrorist activities. That's a way of life. It wasn't a way of life before you got it. Don, good to have you along with me on the Jesse T Show. You just entered the world according to Torero. I bid you adieu, and you're straight on the point on the powerofvoices.com, the Global Radio Network, and AV Entertainment Live, and the Digital Broadcasting TV Network. Got some good red carpets coming up. Check out my new show, my what we call sizzle reel about Man Tracker and the Hunters. Posted up on just about every social site and network site around. Yes, right. Something I do with Coalition Against Human Trafficking. I hunt the bad guys. Have a great one. The Brown Beauty is off duty. See ya. On to the gym I go. Training.